Hey guys, it's Prometheum5 here, coming at you with another CollectionDX review of an awesome toy. This is the first release in ThreeA's Halo line. This is Carter from the Halo game Reach, which is based on the novel Fall of Reach, which tells the story of kind of the end of the Halo universe having a lot of Spartan super soldiers in it, and then after Reach comes the first actual original Halo game with just Master Chief tooling around as kind of the last of his kind of awesome battle armored super soldiers. But what we're all really here for is 3A obviously making awesome battle armored super soldiers, and I've got to say that they have done a really cool job with this. So this is Carter. He stands around 13.5 inches tall, which is huge. This is a regular 1/6 scale, 12-inch Hot Toys figure for comparison. The Spartans in Halo are genetically modified and souped up and all sorts of crazy stuff, so they're really quite big. Plus you add on the armor and stuff, so I mean this is a 1/6 scale figure, not just a 12-inch figure of Carter. So I actually really like how freaking huge he is. I think he looks pretty fantastic. Out of the box, you have to put in a number of batteries for some light up features. I'm not going to show you trying to put all those batteries in because frankly it's a pain in the butt, but I'll show you where they go. The back plate comes off. There's a couple of tabs and stuff here. It all feels pretty rugged, but you do just want to be kind of careful. I mean, it would suck to break something back here. But the backpack all comes off, and there are two big watch batteries in there, and then these plates on the back of the arms come off, and there's another battery compartment in there with a screw, and there's three itty-bitty hearing aid type batteries. And let me tell you that getting the third one of those batteries in is a total pain in the ass. There's a spring in there, and there's basically no more room by the time you get the second one in. So you need a pair of tweezers to kind of mash the third one in there, and it shoots off if you lose it. And it take a couple minutes, but once they're in, it's certainly worth it because these guys have some pretty killer light up features, which I'm going to show off in a second. So there are light switches on the tops of the arms above the battery compartments, kind of like on Hot Toys Iron Man figures. They're real small switches. And then there's a switch inside the torso, which I'll show a close-up photo of in the text and photo review. But that leads me to my one real complaint with this guy, is that to turn all the lights on and the body and stuff, you have to take the backpack off. And I'm just worried that after a little while, some of these little tabs on here might get kind of worn out. But I mean, if you're careful, it should be fine. It's just, it seems like it would have made more sense to bring a switch to the outside of the figure, even if it did look a little funny. But that's fine, we'll live. It's totally worth it. As you can see, there are quite a few lights on this guy. It's a pretty cool effect there. I guess they're all fiber optically linked inside there. So just the little spots that are supposed to light up, and there's not a lot of bleed through anywhere, or, you know, big ugly kind of light sections and stuff. It's real fine effect, and it does look pretty freaking sweet. So I'll live with the fact that the batteries are a little tough to put in. So let's get down to kind of the basics here, and then we'll talk about all the accessories and put all of Carter's accoutrements on. But basically, these are built on a custom inner body. I don't even think there's an entire naked body sculpt under there. It seems like stuff like the arms and the shoulders and things are sculpted just with the detail right on. So it's kind of a hybrid between being a 6 scale figure that's just a, you know, like a G.I. Joe or something with a total naked body and then all the suit and stuff on top. It's you know, some of the stuff is kind of built in, it seems. But there's a body construction under there, and then there's hard armor panels and just a little bit of, you can kind of see here, I'm squishing it, there's soft rubber suit around the shoulders and the belly and the hips and the knees and the elbows, and I guess the ankles too. The legs, there's a rubber bodysuit on this guy. It's kind of tough to say exactly where it ends. But the smart thing about it is that it's cut at the hips and shoulders, so some of the high traffic areas hopefully won't wear too much. Like it's usually people worry that rubber suits on figures will tear and stuff. The ankles actually are separate parts too, so it has a nice layered effect that actually I think adds to it quite a bit. And with all that rubber and stuff on there, he's still totally posable. He's got awesome clicky joints in the knees and in the hips for the side-to-side movement, and the shoulders have a great click sound to them. And the elbows don't click out loud, but they are detented. So I mean, they really did a nice job of making sure that this guy was really posable and would be able to hold poses with his rubber suit and bulky armor and stuff. So they really just did a nice job on this guy all around. I mean, I'll show off in a minute. He's just stupid posable. He has individually articulated fingers, which are one of the coolest things I have ever seen. I'll do some close-up photos and stuff. I don't want to try and get too close to the camera, got to focus, but every joint is articulated. The fingers have like multiple ball joints in the base and stuff, and he can do, you know, like nice gripping poses for any kind of weapon you could give him, and fists and middle fingers and pointing and all kinds of stuff. He can do a lot of cool, you know, tactical type poses if you're into such things, since Carter is the squad leader in Halo Reach. So that's kind of the basics and stuff. I mean, the paint and everything is just absolutely beautiful, and I'll have a lot of gushy detail photos. But we got to talk about all of Carter's cool accessories before we can do our overall talk here. He comes with quite a few. There's some shoulder pads and some grenades and a couple of pouches for the chest and a fanny pack and a cool knife with a sheath and an awesome designated marksman rifle that's really just a beautifully sculpted piece of sci-fi weaponry. And the cool thing is that most of the accessories are actually magnetic, so they just slap on there and they're good to go. That's on the wrong side, but instead of having a bunch of ugly pegs and stuff and holes and things that could get loose or break or whatever, ThreeA made most of the accessories magnetic with big chunky rare earth magnets and magnets all in the body and stuff, so everything just slaps on with a real nice satisfying click. And there's sculpted detail on the inside, a lot of the faces of a lot of the parts, so that they'll sit in the right spot, and they're not like the fanny pack especially can't like slop around on his butt or anything. It has little tabs in there, so it sits right where it's supposed to, but it is magnetic, so there's no pegs or anything to break. The chest stuff just kind of slots on. There's some sculpted tabs that make it seem kind of seamless there. It's a little awkward to get this one on, I find, just because I'm trying to figure out where it goes. But once they're on, they're nice and snug, and they look pretty sweet. There's a little bit of light comes through the display on his chest display thing, whatever the hell it's supposed to be. It looks rad. The grenades are magnetic as well, and they can go, they're supposed to go on his hips, but you can actually slap them on other places if you are so inclined, kind of for some different storage options. And he's got a couple hard points on his back too, so you could have, like, you know, back grenades or whatever. But they go on his hips by default, so that's where we'll stick them. And they are, I mean, everything's nice and attached too. You can see them waving around. It takes a pretty good jostle to dislodge anything, and that's the grenades, which kind of sit loose anyway, just because the grenades don't have anything to kind of tab to. They just float on his hips. But I mean, they look awesome, and the knife comes out of the sheath and looks nice and sharp, and then goes up on the collar here. The knife is a little more loose than some of the other parts, just because there's no tabs or anything. I wish there was like one kind of tab to keep it aligned, but, you know, minor nitpicks. So that's Carter with all of his cool stuff, well, almost all of his cool stuff. The rifle has a couple of magnets in it so that it will slap on his backpack. It's kind of tough to find the magnets in there, but Let's see here. Where are the magnets? There we go. So there's two magnets. There's a magnet here and a magnet here, so that it won't spin. It'll sit at the right angle for, I guess, how these guys can dock their guns in the game and have it look pretty sweet. The rifle's a little easier to dislodge than some of the other stuff, but I mean, the one magnet's quite strong, so it won't fall off. It just sometimes tends to spin about, but that's all right. So he's got all this cool stuff, and he can obviously, you know, thanks to the articulated fingers and things, he can do all sorts of crazy stuff with all of his sweet accessories. You can pose him with his awesome combat knife, which is pretty cool looking. He's posable enough that you can actually, I mean, get his arm almost right up there like he's drawing it out. If you take the chest things off, you can get a little more bend in there. I mean, you can get the knife right up into the holster there like he's drawing his combat blade gonna stick somebody. It's just, I mean, I'll show all sorts of poses and stuff in the text and photo review. It's kind of tough to just go through, you know, points of motion and stuff in this video, but I wanted to just kind of give everyone a sense of the size and the scale and how solid he is when you handle him. I mean, he's not flopping all about, nothing's falling off. He's really, really well done. Obviously, you can get the gun in his hand. The hand, I find, is not quite as well sculpted to fit the gun as I wish it was. The palm shape could be a little better. The gun fits at kind of a goofy angle, but once it's in, it's, again, nice and solid, and the wrists have a really good motion, and they're tight and everything, so we can hold his gun no problem. I mean, it's, you know, do all sorts of cool firing poses. If you take the one chest piece off, you can get some really tight aiming down the sights poses. That one does kind of get in the way, but it, you know, comes right off, so that's fine. You can get them all up here. He can't quite get his visor looking right down the gun sight just because he's got all that armor and stuff on, but I assume there's like a camera or something linked in there anyway, so he wouldn't have to actually get his eyes to the scope. And it's easy to just throw him in, you know, cool poses that are stable and stuff. The ankles are really, really good, really tight and really dynamic and everything. So it's just, you know, totally freaking sweet figure. I mean, ThreeA just killed it with these guys. They're absolutely the best Halo toy ever released. I say they because I also have the Bambaland-exclusive Commando version that was available when Carter was up for direct pre-order. I think you can actually get the Commando from Big Bad Toy Store now, because somehow they seem to be getting Bambaland stuff on their site for retail. I don't know how that works, but I'm not complaining. The Commando is just a beautiful, simple recolor, so, you know, if you like one, two's better. So, just a totally freaking cool figure. The two of them obviously look awesome together if you're a pig and have both like I do. And the other cool thing about this guy is actually the price, which you wouldn't expect to be a cool thing. Carter's only like $200. And compared to anything else on this quality level, I mean, basically the only other game in town for something this nice is Hot Toys. And it seems like with the debut of all the new Iron Man stuff and the other, you know, movie type stuff, Hot Toys is pretty much a $300 minimum purchase for anything more than, you know, Agent Coulson with a suit. So $200 for a fully original body that's larger than normal, and all the armor bits and the detail and the magnets and the ridiculous light features, which I'm sure are not cheap to produce. $200 is a steal. This is just freaking an awesome figure. I mean, they're both awesome. You should go buy both. If you like Halo or guys in cool suits or Tokusatsu or sci-fi, just, you know, these appeal to a lot of different people, and I think fans of the games and stuff that aren't normally toy collectors are probably going to check these out and, you know, not buy a lot of toys, but buy these and be just really, really blown away by how nice they are. And hopefully they'll go look at other toys that are almost as nice and get into toy collecting, and then we'll have more toy collectors in the world competing for the same things. But I can't say a nice enough thing about this guy. I do absolutely love him. We'll just talk about Carter for the rest of this, but they're both cool. You should get both if you like what you see here. So that's 3A's first Halo release. This is Carter from Halo Reach, and hopefully we'll be seeing the rest of his squad soon, because I mean, hell, I'll buy pretty much anything Halo that 3A does after this. These are the best Halo figures ever made. I mean, I said that in my Commando review on CollectionDX, and I still think so. They couldn't be nicer. I mean, they're just absolutely beautiful. The finish and stuff is incredible. The details, there's tons of little decals and stuff that I'll take photos of for the text and photo review. They did such a nice job on these. I can't see anyone who could have done better. I mean, Hot Toys wouldn't touch a license like this because it has no Asian market appeal and would require huge original body sculpts, and just Hot Toys doesn't have the time for this kind of thing, frankly. I mean, I was so glad to see 3A get the license, and in the last year, I mean, you look at like the Real Steel stuff and these guys. 3A has just taken their licensed production game and just ran away with it. I mean, nobody can touch them at the price point that they're working at and the licenses they're doing. And I mean, they announced a whole bunch of new stuff at some convention in Thailand, I think, last month. They showed off some Lost Planet figures, which is a game that I don't think anyone actually even likes, but it has some cool mecha designs and future soldier type stuff in it. So hell, I'll check them out. I mean, I've never even played Lost Planet, and it doesn't sound very good from everything I hear, but it's got cool looking stuff, and if 3A does half as nice a job on those as they did on this guy, they'll be fantastic. I mean, they're just absolutely beautiful work. And I mean, they've gotten their quality control down to just almost impeccable. I've seen a couple people with some shipping damage. I guess the knee pads are attached to the rubber suit and not to the actual mechanical knee underneath there. So some people have had those come unglued, but not actually broken. And I have seen one or two people accidentally break a finger just because they are so small, and they're not fragile, but they're certainly delicately made, and I mean, need to be handled a little bit earnestly. But I mean, the rest of the guy is rock solid. He's, you know, got a nice clicky body in there. The joints are all solid. I haven't seen anyone complain about a loose joint or anything. They're just, the fit and finish is pretty much perfect on these guys. And the magnets are just such a cool little feature that adds so much to the look, and just, I mean, they make it more fun too, because you could see, I mean, I don't know if 3A is going to go quite this far with the Halo line, but you could see doing, you know, armor packs and stuff with different shoulder pads or more weapons, and I would be totally down for that kind of thing. I mean, one of my only complaints in the Commando review was that I wish he came with more guns, just because there are so many cool guns in the Halo games that would easily translate to fun accessories for a figure. I mean, I would love to see like a Halo 1 pistol or a shotgun in there, because those are just fantastic video game weapons. So, like I said, $200, you know, available from retailers now. This is 3A's Carter from the first release in their Halo line. I'm Prometheum 5, reviewing this guy for CollectionDX. I want to say thanks to 3A for sending this guy along. I love him just as much as I like the Commando figure, excuse me. And if you like what you see here, you should go buy a toy, and then you should go to CollectionDX to read the text and photo review. Like, subscribe, and comment on the site and all that good stuff. And I'll be back next time with some more cool stuff. Thanks for watching.